Yo, what's going on, everybody? Hope all is well. So, y'all, today's been a great day. I've been reading this book, and it's called "The 100 Simple Secrets of Happy People." And the reason why this book really is encouraging to me, and I hope it's encouraging to you as well, if you have read it. The author is David Niven. He has a PhD. But 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 the reason why this book is important to me, and as I share with you, because a lot of times in life, we start to feel like the life is unhappy, like we're missing something and our life can be a lot better, right? And a lot of times your life it's great. It's going great. Nothing's wrong with it. But what we do is we sabotage life and we make life feel like it's not worthy, or it's not valuable, right? And when you feel like something is invaluable, you're never going to treat it with the gratitude that you should be treating it with. And so when I started reading this book, I was like, I like this because this book actually gives simple secrets, 100 of them, of happy people. And so if you say you're not happy, think again. Y'all, if you're not followed the podcast, make sure you do so. Hit the follow button. When you do that, you'll never miss a moment to rewire the way you think. All right, y'all. So I'm gonna pop open this book to a particular page. Now, I didn't pre-figure out what page I'm gonna pop open. I didn't say, well, I'm gonna discuss this today. I'm just gonna open the book and we're gonna talk about one of the simple secrets of happiness. Okay, here we go. Ooh, this is a good one. So number eight on the list of 100 secrets. Accept yourself unconditionally. This is big because this is where a lot of us fail. We never accept ourselves unconditionally. And let me tell you why we do that. Because we're very critical of who we are and what we are and the things that we feel comfortable with about ourselves in life. So when we don't accept ourselves, we start to, like I said earlier, when I kicked off this episode, we start to really feel like the life isn't worth living for. It's invaluable, right? Especially when you don't accept yourself unconditionally, you really feel that way no matter what. I got two kids by two different women. I'm not always happy to say that, but that was my life and that's the decisions that I made. But I have two beautiful kids. They're adults. They have kids, and so they made me a grandpa two times. I got two grandsons, and I'm waiting to start my either my NBA or my semi football team. I said NBA, pre-NBA for my grandsons. I got two grandsons. I don't know if I said that, but I got two grandsons. So if someone wants to give me three more, we'll definitely have a team of five. And if someone wants to bring another five, we'll definitely have some starters on the bench so we can sub them in every quarter. But anyways, y'all, so accept yourself unconditionally. What I was saying is that I made the decision in the past to have two kids by two different women out of wedlock. And for a long time, when my kids became adults, I didn't accept what I did and how I did it. There was a lot of beat down days for James, like beat myself down really bad. And it got to a point to where it eroded my self-esteem. It got to a point to where I didn't feel happy about who I was. And it got to a point to where I really even started thinking like, am I even a worthy father? I mean, it took me to that point because I didn't accept myself unconditionally. I thought there was some good parts about me, but I always looked at the worst parts more than I did the good parts about me. And when you don't look at the good parts, you're not loving yourself or accepting yourself unconditionally, right? Because you're going to take the good with the bad and the bad with the good, right? That's unconditional. Take the good with the bad and the bad with the good. But that's where I struggled at because I didn't do that. I didn't accept myself and say, hey, you had two kids by two women. You were a loving dad. You were present in both their lives. You had visitation that you went to court for. You always paid your child support on time. I didn't look at any of that. The only thing that I could see is that I had two kids by two women, and I made their lives difficult because I picked them up one weekend. They went with them one weekend. One every other week, one day every other week was my day. One day every other week was their day. And my kids, my daughter would cry. My son would say he wouldn't want to come. And so it was just like this repeated scenario every week, every other week, whichever child I was picking up. And it really made me feel worthless. I didn't accept myself. And there was a lot of days I just wanted to just give up and say, I don't care, because it just didn't go well for me. At least at the time, that's how I felt. I will tell y'all today, I'm way past that now. I accept myself, and I know I was a great father, and I'm continuing to be a great father unconditionally, right? I had to get through the heartache of what I felt like I could have done better as a dad versus what did I do good as a dad. And I got over that. And once I was able to get over that, I was able to accept myself unconditionally with that scenario and be able to open up my heart to myself and love myself and accept who I was and the decisions, some of the bad decisions I've made. Right. And that's where we go wrong at, is that we don't want to accept ourselves unconditionally, but we're willing to accept someone else unconditionally. Listen to what I said. We're willing to love someone, treat them with kindness and love unconditionally. But when it comes to ourselves, there's conditions. In fact, maybe too much conditions. So accept yourself unconditionally. You know, you might have made some mistakes in your life. You might have done some horrible things, but that doesn't make you an unworthy person. It doesn't mean you're invaluable. A couple weeks ago, I heard a friend talking to one of his friends, and he kept saying, man, I'm not shit. I'm not shit anyways. And that just really, really bothered me to hear somebody put themselves down that way, because as a human being, you're very valuable. And if you're a person who's taking those stance and you feel that way about yourself, that's not good. You shouldn't feel that way about yourself at all. Because like I said, we've all made bad mistakes. We've all done something that we shouldn't do. But it doesn't mean you should discredit yourself. Doesn't mean that you should put yourself on the I ain't shit list. You shouldn't. You don't have to. Because you're still valuable. You're still worthy of more than what you really think you are. So don't ever put yourself on a very low pedestal. We should all be on a high pedestal. So accept yourself unconditionally for who you are and what you are. A lot of us take scenarios that we've been through and we say it's our fault. I took this class a couple years back at one of the centers here in Arizona. The company was called Live for You. And it was a leadership course. And in this course, the motivational speaker, or the leader that we had, he talked about how growing up he was molested. And he came to terms with it by saying they didn't molest my mind, they molested my body. And that was his way for him to be able to find himself valuable, for him to love himself and accept himself unconditionally. And yes, he said he went through some struggles in his life dealing with it. There was moments where he didn't want to be here anymore. But at the same time, he was able to get over that by finding a mantra that he can live by now. And like I said, that mantra is that they didn't molest my mind, they molest my body. I still have my free will because I have my mind. And when I heard him say that, I love that because it's like we all go through things in life. And because we all go through things in life, like I said, it doesn't discredit who you are. There's no reason for you to not love yourself unconditionally. So if you've been struggling with something for so long and it keeps pulling you back and it just doesn't allow you to be who you want to be, let it go. Close the doors. Close the doors. Close the doors. Yeah, every time I say that, I laugh because I don't think that Mr. Pastor Man did not think that him saying close the doors was going to turn out to be as big of an issue as it was. But it happened to be and caused a big issue because he said close the doors. And because he said close the doors, it was considered a kidnapping scenario, right? Because there was some type of exchange involved, and that exchange was money transaction, right? But the reason why I say that, not to make fun of this scenario, is that we've got to close the doors on feeling like we don't accept ourselves. We got to close the doors on any negative thoughts that we have for ourselves. Because when we close the doors, we open a new chapter. And when we open a new chapter, we can finally live life worry free. Hey, y'all, thank y'all for listening. I really, really appreciate it. Remember this, y'all. Accept yourself unconditionally. Always love who you are. Love everything about you. If you got to look in the mirror 10 times a day and say, I'm beautiful, I'm loving, I'm kind, you got to do that. Or you could say, you is nice, you is kind, and you is important. You can say any one of those to help build yourself up, y'all. Y'all make sure you hit that follow button if you have not done so. When you do, you'll never miss a moment to rewire the way you think. Go check out my website. It's www.rewirethewayouthink.com. Y'all, I'm not hard to find. I'm on IG all day. It's Fast Forward Mindset Podcast. If you're struggling today with thoughts of suicide, thoughts of hurting yourself or someone else, please don't hesitate to call the Suicide Prevention Hotline at 988. Hey, y'all, I'm Coach James. Let me help you wire the way you think. And as I always say, if your mindset is making you money, it's costing you way too much. And that's my 2 cents in there, y'all. Peace.
Thank y'all for listening to today's episode. And remember, don't rewind your life, fast forward it. Until next time, keep moving forward. Hey, y'all, I'm Coach James. Let me help rewire the way you think. All right, y'all. Peace.